restoration. Oh God, you bring restoration. You bring restoration to my soul.
It is not just immoral what is happening here. It is not just unconscionable. It is not just distasteful. It is criminal.
Howdy folks, Peter Shinn here, president of Pro-Life Unity. You're listening to Pro-Life Unity Radio. Our website is prolifeunity.com. That's all one word, prolifeunity.com. And our Facebook group is Pro-Life Unity with the hyphen. So it's pro-life-unity. And if you want to get involved and you want to help defend the defenseless, get in touch with us. If you go to the website at prolifeunity.com, up in the upper right corner, you'll see a link that says volunteer. We'll be glad to help you out and get you involved in the pro-life movement. It's a place where everybody needs to be, so communicate with us. Let us help you help the defenseless. I'm with Stephen Brody, and we're talking about the telemed abortions, which are done by Planned Parenthood, and something that has been going on for quite a while for anybody who doesn't know. The idea is, of course, to be able to provide abortion services without a person actually having to come in. And the profitability on this, I'm sure, is high. And of course, we know that if they do this kind of thing, they can reach a lot more people and kill a lot more people. And, you know, like I said, we're with Stephen Brody, and you're with the Dubuque County Right for Life. And this is something you're trying to get out there and get people to understand, right?
That's right, Peter. The Planned Parenthood of the Heartland, which is the affiliate in the Des Moines, Iowa area, has actually been doing this practice of telemed abortions for almost 2 years now. And in just a month and a half ago, Cecile Richards, the national president of Planned Parenthood, came to Cedar Rapids, and folks from Dubuque County Right to Life, along with about 200 others, protested outside the hotel where she was. We stood in the rain, and she was inside. And at that event, it became known that this practice is part of a strategic plan to go nationwide by Planned Parenthood by the year 2015. And if that isn't bad enough, Iowa Public Radio ran a story the very next day, and one of the employees of Planned Parenthood acknowledged that the affiliate here in East Central Iowa, including the communities of Cedar Rapids and Dubuque, had already agreed to sign on to introducing telemed abortions in this part of the state. And so they're slowly beginning to expand this practice of telemedicine. They're perverting the practice of telemedicine and using it now to kill unborn children. And so we're wanting, number one, to try and stop it in its tracks in Iowa, but most importantly, we want to stop it from crossing the Mississippi River and going into the other states and getting other pro-life organizations and just good pro-lifers across the country to be aware of this, know what's coming, and see what they can do to stop this in their own states.
And what kind of drug are we talking about here?
Well, this would be RU-486, which is known as the abortion drug. So this would be this would be known as a chemical or medical abortion. This isn't one of those, and we don't want to confuse it with the morning after pill. The morning after pill is you've had sex the night before, you don't know if you're pregnant, and so you pop a pill just in case. This is, you know you're pregnant. You've had a pregnancy test. It comes back positive. You've had an ultrasound. It confirms how far along you are in the pregnancy, and you affirmatively make the decision to terminate the pregnancy, to kill the child. And so the RU-486 is two different pills. It's the Mifeprex and the misoprostol. And so one of them is the first pill is taken to effectively kill the child, and then the second pill is used effectively then to create what they're calling the miscarriage experience. And so you will terminate the pregnancy. You'll have a miscarriage at home. And so the baby will come out, as bad as this sounds, probably in the toilet. And so then you'll have to deal with the remains and having to handle it at that point, which is probably something a lot of folks are not prepared for and will be quite traumatic when they experience it.
So what time or at what age or stage of growth in the womb can the mother take this RU486?
Well, the FDA protocols, if I know this correctly, states that it can be up to 7 weeks. So that's like day 49. Planned Parenthood in Iowa has been giving it up to 9 weeks, so up to day 63. And the way that they determine this is that they perform a vaginal ultrasound. And so they're able to determine the gestation of the baby by that. Now, they never show it to the patient. They will go ahead and they'll keep that information away from the patient because, of course, if the girl saw that it was a baby, fully formed baby at that point, and not a clump of cells, as Planned Parenthood would say, then they very well may not go through with the abortion. So that information is passed along then to the doctor, and the doctor is then able to determine that based on that length of how far along she is eligible to take the RU486, because after the 7th week, or in Planned Parenthood's case, the 9th week, apparently you cannot give it out anymore.
Well, I mean, this sounds crazy to me. I mean, because you're talking about essentially a fully formed human being inside the womb. You're not talking about anything close to resembling a clump of cells, right?
No, absolutely. And and if anybody has seen 4D ultrasound technology which has come out, or if you see the DVD Baby Steps, which has been put out by American Life League, you can see that a baby is a baby, and it's formed as early as 3 weeks, that you can see the formations of the child. And so it is by no means a clump of cells. And so anyone who is going to have, who's going to terminate the pregnancy at 8 weeks or 9 weeks, is going to terminate the pregnancy, is going to kill a fully formed baby. And when that baby comes out of the mother and comes out into the toilet, and she looks at it, she's going to see a child. And I don't know whether she is adequately prepared for that. To be able to see that, especially if Planned Parenthood is not going to explain that to her and say that it is just a clump of cells and it's early enough that the child, regardless if the child can survive outside the womb at that point, the fact is that's a life. That is a child, and you will be able to identify it as such when when the child exits the womb.
So, in the case of these telemed abortions, and I mean, really, that is exactly what we're talking about. They're doing abortions, and they're avoiding the surgical process, but I imagine the profit margin's still going to be fairly close, if not better, because they don't have to deal with any of the hands-on. But what about the danger to the woman that she's going to experience if she has any kinds of problems and there's nobody there available for her?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because Planned Parenthood, all they care about is the profit. They care about the bottom line, and they want to avoid liability as much as possible. So they don't want to have the botched abortions, and they don't want to have blood on their hands in the facility. They would rather the mom have the blood on her hands in the privacy of her home. And so, God forbid, she goes home and she experiences excessive bleeding, hemorrhaging, infection, anything like that. She's not going to go back to Planned Parenthood. She's going to go to the emergency room of her hospital. And then she's going to have other issues to deal with, because the doctor is going to want to know what's going on here. And if it's, let's say it's a teenager who didn't want anybody to know that she was pregnant, well, she's got to make a decision at that point. She's either got to expose the truth and say, well, I was pregnant and I went to Planned Parenthood and they gave me RU486, these pills, and as a result, I'm bleeding like a stuffed pig. or she's got to make up something. She's got to make up another story. So it opens up this whole other issue of conscience and lies and cover-ups, or do we tell the truth and say what really happened, and getting the parents involved. And then if the parents find out, then they're really going to be mad, and they're going to want to go after Planned Parenthood. And I'm sure that Planned Parenthood is basically going to wipe their hands and say, well, it didn't happen at our place, and so as long as it, if you have any complications or any issues at your home, go to the emergency room and they'll take care of it.
Exactly what is the process that happens if a person says they want a telemed abortion?
What happens is this. This is what's going to eventually happen here, unfortunately, in Dubuque, unless we can stop it. Let's say a woman comes into the facility in Dubuque, and she says, I think I'm pregnant, but I want to make sure. She has a pregnancy test. It's positive. They then perform the vaginal ultrasound to determine how far along she is pregnant. They then communicate this information via email to a doctor who is based, let's say, in Des Moines. They don't share the information with the patient, like I said before. They don't show her the ultrasound pictures or anything like that. So the doctor in Des Moines gets the information, looks at it and everything, and then they set up a video conference, a teleconference, similar to Skype or anything, so you're having a two-way conversation. The nurse in Dubuque and the patient is sitting in front of one screen. The doctor in Des Moines is sitting in another screen. And he then has a consultation with the patient through this method. I've confirmed that you are indeed pregnant. You're so far along, blah, blah, blah. I understand you want to terminate the pregnancy. Yes. He goes ahead and he explains now what will happen. And if she is still agreeable to that, now listen to this. He then goes ahead and with a click of the mouse sends an electronic signal to unlock a drawer at the Dubuque location, where the drawer opens up and voila, there are the two bottles of the abortion pills. Wow. And the doctor then says, okay, take out the first bottle, and I want you to take the first pill in front of the camera so I watch you do it. And she goes ahead and does it. And then he says, okay, now I want you to take the second bottle, and you'll take those pills with you home, and that's where you will encounter the miscarriage experience. And that will take care of your problem. And then you'll be on your way. That'll be $1,000 or whatever it is. Thank you very much. Pay by cash or credit card, and you're on your way. Problem is solved. We know that this is what happens because it's been documented now, not only by Operation Rescue with an undercover investigation that they did, but the Des Moines Register ran a front-page story on it May the 16th, and a Des Moines television station ran a news story as well. So this is not made up. This is all documented. This is all true and reality, and this is the brave new world, unfortunately, for Planned Parenthood to kill unborn babies.
Well, Steve, this is just flat-out frightening to me. I can't believe this is happening. And
that's what, and thank you for saying that, because I think most people can't believe that this is happening. They can't believe that an organization would take something as positive as telemedicine and pervert it to kill children. Because again, doctors in the medical profession are supposed to be sworn to save lives and to protect lives. And Planned Parenthood is just using this as another example to take lives. And they're doing this because, one, they're closing facilities across the country. Two, they're not getting enough doctors to staff their locations. Three, they're not getting enough nurses. So they're consolidating locations. And in order to try and accommodate and to still keep that profit line going, they've got to find another way to bring that money in. And so if they can't do it through surgical abortions, they're going to come up with another way, and it's going to be this. It's going to be this telemed abortions in order for them to continue to keep their doors open, because Peter, that's where they make all their money. they may tell you that 97% of all the work they do is preventative health care and all this other stuff, and only 3% is abortions. But that 3% is what keeps them open. They make all of their money on killing babies with all of that blood money, and it's tragic.
Well, and I think something that has to be added on to this, we already know that Planned Parenthood and the pro-abortion people and agencies fight for their rights to push the abortion message to our children. And here is just another product that they're going to offer to our children, most likely without our permission. Isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Planned Parenthood, of course, one of their big things is that they want to have that wall of separation between the child and the parents. They sue against every piece of parental notification law, parental consent law that's introduced, no matter where it is in the country. They want to block that. They don't want the parents involved. They want to keep that privacy element there. Nobody has to know. You don't have to tell anybody. And so, my goodness, if you can just come to our office on the QT and take a few pills, nobody will know. Your mom won't know, your dad won't know, and it'll be all over with before anybody finds out. And yeah, it'll be like just going to the nurse and getting your birth control pill. We can take care of this as well, and you'll take care of the pregnancy. Nobody will ever know about it. But like we said before, what happens in those instances when she goes home and all of a sudden she can't stop bleeding, and she's got this hemorrhaging going on, and she doesn't know what to do, and she's panicked. Or, like I said, she goes ahead and she expels the baby in the toilet. Now what is she going to do? Is she going to flush the baby down the toilet, or is she going to have to pick up the child's remains right there and then have to confront, her parents at that point and say, "Mommy, Daddy, what do I do? What do I do?" I mean, I feel very sad for what that girl is going to have to encounter, and all the emotions and all the trauma that she's going to go through when this happens. She has no idea, and Planned Parenthood in no way is going to protect her and is going to even what's the word I'm thinking of? They're not even going to give her the information to let her be prepared for it. That's the word. To prepare her for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm the most scared about with this.
Well, like I say, to me this is frightening. It's just another step in the long line of things that they want to do to, of course, manipulate our children, control, our children's minds, and also, of course, the many things that are happening as far as embryonic stem cell research, abortion, cloning. All of these things are happening, and we've just got to do something about it. We've been talking to Stephen Brody with Dubuque County Right to Life in Iowa, and how do people find out more about this? Maybe, well, what I would say is anybody who's listening to this and has gotten this far, and you agree that there's something you should do something about this, where do people go to get information and to speak out?
Well, there's a few things that you can do. I mean, first of all, if you want to know what's going on the, we're basically ground zero in Iowa. So, I mean, you could certainly start by contacting our office in Dubuque, Iowa, and we're at area code 563-556-5960, or that's probably the best place you can contact us. I would say, this is going to come across state lines, unfortunately, and so the next thing that I would do is contact your local pro-life group, whether it's a Right to Life group or another pro-life organization in the state that you live. I'd get on the phone right now and I would contact them and say, what do you know about this, and what can we do about it? I want to stop this. Another thing that you can do that's being talked about is potentially contact your state legislator and see if there could be maybe some legislation that could be introduced to prevent this from taking place. Not to do away with telemedicine altogether, but to maybe prohibit telemedicine in the use of for the purpose of abortions. That might be the best way to go.
Yeah.
But there But there are certainly several ways to do it. And I can tell you, Peter, the other thing that's scary, if you've got anybody who's listening, let's say in Wisconsin or in Alaska, Planned Parenthood has those telemed machines already there at those locations. They're using them only for birth control right now, but it's already in place. So if they were next week to say, now we want to do RU486 abortions through it, it's already there. There'll be no delay. They can just say, next Monday we start, and it's already in place. So for folks listening in those two states, there would be more of an urgency, I would say, to get on the horn with the pro-life organizations and try and put a stop to this and let people know what's going on. Because once people hear about this, their jaw drops and they say, we can't allow this to happen. This is just wrong. It's ridiculous, and it needs to be stopped.
Definitely needs to be stopped, and there is the need for people everywhere to speak up. There's no such thing as a bystander. We're all in this together. The abortion issue, along with the other issues, we're talking about people who don't have a voice. We're their voice. So if we don't speak up, it's just going to keep happening, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is where the power of the social media, the power of the internet, the power of the blogs, power of the websites. This is where it really needs to come out into the forefront, because the mainstream media is not going to cover it. There was one story that ran in the New York Times recently on this issue, but of course, as you would expect, it really wasn't a negative piece about it. It was one to kind of tell people about it, and it left you with a taste of, oh, well, that's not that big of a deal. Well, it is a big deal. And so we need to get the word out through all of our friends and whatever outlets possible, whatever national voices we can get to speak out about this, because the mainstream media really has not covered it yet, and it's not on the radar. And we would very much like to get this out there on the radar, because that's how Planned Parenthood survives and thrives, is lurking behind the scenes, and in the weeds, and not being known of what's going on until it's too late. And we want to expose the darkness into the light, and we want to put them on the defensive. We want them to have to backpedal. We want them to have to admit what's going on. And if we have enough people that are loud about it and say no, then we can stop this. With God, everything is possible. So with prayer and with fasting and with our voice, we can stop this. We can't allow this to go on by our silence. We have got to stop this by our actions and by our deeds and by our words and by our prayer. We've got to, it's a call to action. And I would beg and plead for everyone out there to please step up and act up and do what you can to stop this heinous procedure from going any further than it is, unfortunately, here in Iowa.
Well, we'll certainly get the word out there. By the way, do you have a website?
We do. We have a couple of websites, actually. Our website is our initials. It's www.dcrtl.org for Dubuque County Right to Life. If you're in the area and you're interested in our protest efforts against Planned Parenthood, we have a website that's called protestplannedparenthood.org. And like I said, we also have a Facebook page, because we've got to stay current with everybody else. So we update that daily as well with stories from news sources across the country. So we try to keep our people as informed as possible, as current as possible. And if anybody wants to become a member of Dubuque County Right to Life, you can contact us and let us know, and we can get you on our newsletter list. We can email it to you. You can go on our website and get the information. But we're looking for warriors to stand with us to put an end to this. We want Planned Parenthood not only out of Dubuque, but we'd like them shut down completely.
There you go. Well, there's no such thing as a bystander. You got to be in it, and we encourage everyone to join in. So, read up more about this and check out Dubuque County Right to Life. And Stephen, appreciate you taking the time to, communicate with people and try to get the word out and reach out to save these babies.
Well, thank you, Peter. God bless you. I thank you so much for having this outlet available to get the message out, and anything else that you can do to help us in getting the message out beyond Iowa, and letting other folks know, we sure appreciate it. We don't necessarily have to be the one to take credit for anything. We just want to be part of a broad coalition of pro-lifers who stand for the rights of the unborn to be born, and we just want to be that gauntlet against Planned Parenthood and against all these other groups that don't see a problem with killing unborn babies. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working together to put a stop to this.
You're welcome, Steve and Brody, Dubuque County Right to Life. I'm Peter Shinn signing off for Pro-Life Unity. Thanks for listening to another episode. We're going to have more of this as time goes on. And, of course, there's always the issue of abortion we've got to deal with. So stay tuned for issues on that. Go to the prolifeunity.com website and check out our many videos that we have on this topic and many others.